And good morning, good evening, good afternoon to everyone who have joined us across the globe. And it's a pleasure for me and a great opportunity to really connect with all of you and present the session. So we are about to start with our first technical session, that is on school education. And when we see, though we have heard everyone, especially the distinguished chief guest, sir, was talked about NEP 2020. And seeing that there are a lot many scope and there are a lot many improvement which going to be take place in the coming years, not only months, not only weeks, for education all over the globe and specifically in our country as well. So this is a very relevant session that we have presented, and I must say that before I move on with that session, I would like to go with a few slides onto what this particular session is and how we move ahead. So just give me a minute and I'll share my slide with all of you, and then we'll move on. So ladies and gentlemen, who all have joined us, we are about to begin this session on future schools. This is our technical session 1. And in this, we'll be focusing on education, skills, technology, and future teachers. And I'm pleased to present Sri A.P. Sharma ji, eminent innovation educationist, not only from India, but he has been experienced across the globe in the various part of the world. And he has been associated, as Sir told, from the very beginning of COVID-19 when we have started this webinar series, and we have thought of capacity building and empowerment for our youth and for our teachers. So very rightly, he is chairing this session and he'll be guiding throughout the journey. So without wasting any time, here I'm presenting the technical session 1 with Sri A.P. Sharma ji, the eminent innovative educationist. I wish you namaste and happy Makar Sankranti, sir.
Thank you, Chitraji.
I request to chair this session from here, and we'll begin the journey.
Thank you, and happy Makar Sankranti.
Yes, sir.
I think we are already before time.
Yes,
so
sir. Yes.
Not an issue. The only thing is when we talk about future education, so I will take the people who are already on the panel, so we can talk to them and can take their views. So basically, when we are talking about the future education, then it is like skills, technology, and the future of education. Now, after 2020, not many changes have come. It was unanticipated. Nobody anticipated that there will be Corona, there will be online education, something like Zoom is there, something like Microsoft Teams are there, and then we can talk to them. Only few corporate groups used to have their sessions and meetings on these Zoom and Microsoft Teams, and even the Google classrooms. All of a sudden, that has made our teachers trained. Slowly, they got training and they could acquire enough knowledge so that they can run the show. So here, when we talk about future education, I said in 2019, when we had a big conference, we were talking about technology, we were talking about skills, we were talking about vocational education and all. And we never talked that there will be an emergency and our teachers should be well equipped with that. So nobody can think about future and nobody can think about future education. But yes, we can anticipate on the basis of certain parameters. For example, what are the future jobs which are again anticipated? Because such kind of future jobs will come, which can't be imagined by anybody. There will be education system in which when we are preparing our engineers, doctors, other technicians, when they will come in the field, they will find different challenges. So the foremost thing is that when we teach our students in school and colleges, we need to equip them certain skills, and these skills are how to learn, design thinking, entrepreneurship mindset, and all those kind of things by which they can get into the picture. And when they really have any kind of challenge, they have answers to these questions. And when they have answers to these questions, they can really find every problem as an opportunity. So here, one thing is very clear, that school education will be very important to give a foundation. And then IT sector will be one of the important sector which technically should be sound enough to give teachers a platform so that they can proceed further according to their capabilities. So here, who all are available?
So Mr. Tyrone sir is there.
Yeah.
So
yeah, Mr. Tryon, if you can come and give your comments that what all challenges you anticipate by 2025.
Tyrone sir, if you okay,
Yeah,
he's there.
welcome, sir.
Good afternoon, good morning, ma'am, and all the important personalities at this event. One of the biggest challenges I feel here in India, with a lot of good things happening all over the country, but the way I look at it, number one, teachers must be given the job of only teaching. Now, if you look at in India, what happens many times, teachers are used for census, for election work. Now, if you start taking teachers away from the classroom, then the students suffer the most because the teacher is absent. And one of the demands of the teachers are, let us do our job. And their job is to just teach. And yet they are many times withdrawn from the classroom and made to do jobs that are non-teaching in nature. So I think this has to stop. And in fact, there is a ruling that teachers must not be used to do other jobs except teaching. So this is the biggest challenge which I feel, and the biggest losers are children. So if this can be stopped once and for all by the government, then we will have real education taking place instead of part-time education that happens. That's the way I look at it. Now, because of the COVID, we were forced to change. And we brought in the concept of blended learning. Today, because of technology, we can, even if there's a sudden emergency that we can't go to school or something like that, the child doesn't lose out because of online learning, which can happen immediately. Today, a lot of people do have the technology at home. And so this blended learning is a wonderful way to go forward. That's one of the biggest things that came because of the COVID. So that's what I look at it. And as Mr. Sharma ji said earlier about jobs that will come in later in the decade. We need to prepare our children for that. So we need to have a very open mind and grasp anything that comes our way which can benefit our children. Another big challenge is money. We need to fund education, the education sector, much more than what it is. It's been promised but not delivered yet. We were promised 6%, we got 2.9. So if we want to uplift our country, we need to educate our children. And that's the way I look at it. I'm not blaming anybody, but right from the beginning, when we became a free country, had we spent more money on education, number one, our population would have been in check. Our children would be better, having better skills and get more opportunities for employment. And overall, health would have been far much better than what it is. So I feel if money is promised, money should be delivered. Now, if I take the case of Meghalaya, more than many times, it's teachers are on strike because of lack of pay, okay? Which is a terrible thing. They have worked, but the government has no money to pay. Now, what amazes me is why there is no money for the teachers. And who's the loser? The children once again, because the teacher's not attending. However, what I'm saying is, if you're promising money, give the money. There shouldn't be dilly-dallying. Classrooms need to be better, more comfortable for the children to learn, more technology in the classrooms, all right? And the biggest thing we should give our children is trained teachers. We need trained teachers in the classroom, teachers who understand children. You know, we may be having many literate people, but are they truly educated to understand the sentiments of a child? There are cases, there are umpteen cases where the teacher is pretty insensitive to the young child. And what does he become? He becomes eventually a dropout. That is because the training is faulty, or the training is not good enough. Or we have people who are not fit to be teachers, but have become teachers. So we need to have good, excellent teacher training facilities, whereby students get the best of the teacher himself. So I believe funding should be there, technology should be there, and better teacher training facilities. These are some of the issues that I feel need to be addressed. Once we have this in line, we will take off and we will become the Vishwa Guru of the world. We can, because there is now that spirit of wanting to become the best. That's the way I look at it, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
That's great, Mr. Tryon. And I will take the advantage of Reverend Bishop Ignatius being here. When Bishop was talking initially, he was talking about, the country which will be having 65% youth and the college education. What do you expect, sir, from the school education, so that we laid a good foundation for the higher education, and particularly thinking about a revolution education 4.0?
Yeah, keeping in mind what was just said by DeBras, there's a focus surely should be on primary education, but what is happening in primary education at the grassroots. The inadequate number of teachers, the facilities, what was just talked about, and also what DeBras added on lack of pay for the teachers. See, these are very vital issues. So what I would suggest, Sharma ji, is if our education system can focus properly, as much as we are focusing on elitist IITs and high technical kind of education, but when you have a large percentage of children who are not getting even adequate formation, basic education, you are building on sand. in the long run. We are building on sand. The foundation is weak. So the foundation is the children. And the children are the youth who will be in a short time. They will be the youth. So that basic, it's up to you all, the education minister, all of us, how we can help to bring education at a competent level, competency at the primary level. You know, the focus is on these big things. Yes, that is needed. But when the foundation is not, I'm just saying from my heart, because I see what is happening in private schools, in the basic classes, in the nursery classes, okay, but what's happening in government schools, what's happening in the non-formal side, you know, these are the areas where we have to bring back the focus. So there's, again, we are going into high investment on high things, but a vast majority are not benefiting. And if we look at the world where countries develop, you take highly educated countries where there's high standard of living, the basic education was a big focus. That was not neglected. And that's why those countries today are standing on their feet, because basic. And just recently, very interesting, Prime Minister of England, Rishi said, he's enforcing maths, you know, in the class to, I think, a higher class, compulsory. See, the basic, that's very basic. I'm just saying. Thank you very much for giving this chance.
Thank you, sir.
So you have said very useful things, and I believe that the foundation is very important. Like when we sow the seed, and seed is transforming into a sapling. That is the time if strong roots are there, and if we have an amazing kind of upbringing of that sapling, then it will become a great tree. And what is happening in India, that right from the kindergarten, we teach them with the concept of a different kind of learning, and that is rote learning. A for apple, the whole class knows A for apple. Right now also, if we ask anybody, what is A? 90% people will say A for apple, because that has been put in our mind that A for apple only. So right from that level, there should be imposition of experiential learning, where children experience, they learn from experience. Since the acquisition of knowledge has become now what we can say not enough, there should be creation of knowledge. I was in the NCRT conference, and there most of the people were talking about that acquisition of knowledge and applying knowledge is very important. I said, no, India should think beyond applying knowledge. They should think about creation of knowledge. And since we are stopping our education wheel at one particular point, that, okay, application. Yes, application is very important, rather the most important. But one should give an opportunity to think beyond, think out of the box. Consider there is no box. And then when we give children experience at that level, they will ask questions which has never been asked. I feel it very, very interesting. And I have certain kind of illustrations where children have very different kind of thinking. In one class, I made a cloud kind of thing in class KG, and I asked, what is this? I said, then all of you write. So they were trying to write, they were unable to write, then they were whispering. And then we could find that there were 20 solutions to that particular drawing. Few were saying, this is clouds. Few were saying, this is popcorn. Few were saying, this is ice cream puff. Few were saying, this is my dad's shaving puff. Somebody is saying, this is soap. Somebody is saying cotton, so many things. And then we said, explain why it is cotton, why this is so. Again, voting was done. And then finally, all of them decided that this is cotton. Good. So children learned so many things that not every time one child is correct. He may mold if there is a more important reason, more focused reason, or a stronger reason somebody else is telling. They are learning at their level. Because otherwise you will know that today, all these students at this particular level, KG level and all, they are like a student. They don't listen, and they are very much rigid on their issues because we pamper them too much. And then parents' role is very important in foundation. So simultaneously, there should be parent education. In parent orientation, we can teach that this is what we are teaching child in a school. We are teaching them gratitude. We are teaching them experiential learning. We are teaching them so many things. So you also apply same things. Now at home, if somebody is licking the wall, the parent will say, don't do it. There is no use of using the word of don't. If you will use don't every time, the child will become a don'ty. And then every time he will say, or his mind or his subconscious mind will say no. Instead of that, give him reason. There are so many reasons, so many ways of putting up reasoning that beta, if you will eat this, this will happen. See, this guy is having this kind of face, this kind of disease, this. That's why if you want to do. So stop using the word don't. Then you will apply reason. Then you will say reason. Don't go outside, it is sun. Why? Don't tell that. If you will go outside the sun, this will happen. Now child can decide. So child feel I am a decision taking ability. I have a decision taking ability on the basis of certain reasoning being put up by my parents. And that level, this reasoning, this experiential learning, this out of box thinking will make a very strong sapling with strong roots. And that will one day will become a fruit bearing tree, which may have a different kind of fruit, which nobody has imagined. So Mr. Tryon, if you are there, or I think Pushpaji is also in. So I will take first, I will ask question to Pushpaji. Pushpaji, introduce yourself, and then just let us know the importance of education like numeracy, vocabulary, because see, our country has done very bad in PISA, in those kind of examination, which are standard examinations being conducted by international bodies. Our country has done very bad, and last time we could not place ourselves into that particular examination, and rather we withdrew because of a frightening kind of assessment. Now CBSE has introduced SAFL, so that they can improve. What do you think about it? That how we can empower teachers, how we can empower our students at primary level?
Thank you, sir. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Yeah. Thank you, Sharma ji. It's like I was just listening to your thought process, and it is a wonderful, like whatever you have said, it is really required in the contemporary era. So I am Dr. Pushpa Kataria. I am working as an area chair and associate professor with one of the reputed institute in management in Northern India, which is called Doon Business School. So I have been in this education sector from last 20 years. And my journey, I started, of course, with the graduate program and, postgraduate program. So I have been teaching and, able to understand there. Yes, of course, what you have shared is absolutely right. Now, when the level of education, so I have seen that 2 decades in my experience, and I have seen the drastic changes that has taken place in the pace of education level and growth of education level. We have improved on the digitalization. We have seen wonderful application of technology in the education sector. But what is a challenge for today is the communication, which is very, very aptly shared by you. Now, basically, the tools that we are talking today, yes, we have improved. We are trying to make a better connect between a teacher and a student with the help of different communication tools here. But in spite of that, somewhere I feel like we need to work hard on the communication skills of the student. So, sir, I would like to share with you that though I have not yet teach with school, but I hope
I think some bandwidth problem with ma'am.
Yes, sir.
So, Mr. Tyrone, you can take up the question. So the question was how we can improve, let me say, how we can improve our ranking in PISA kind of examinations, because at that level, reading comprehension is very important. We said LSRW means listening, then speaking, then reading, and then writing. But what is actually happening in kindergarten, primary, they all believe and put emphasis on writing first. So your comments, please.
Mr. Sharma ji, as you rightly said, there's too much of focus on rote learning, which is actually detrimental to the growth of the child. And if you look at the PISA ranking, it's got to do with thinking. You should know, you should have the knowledge and the ability to think, as you rightly said, out of the box as well, which is, you have heard it a number of times today. And that's very true, because our children are so used to rote learning. They've learned everything by heart, and the thinking is neglected. And that is one reason our PISA ranking is a dismal scenario. Now, the only way I look at it this way is allowing the child to express himself, the ability to take action, as you said that earlier, to take a decision, and that happens when he thinks. Okay, if he's not allowed to think, then just follow instructions, and he's not given that freedom to take minor decisions for himself at that young age, he's not being allowed to grow. So children must be encouraged to take decisions, small decisions, and allow them to, to go forward. And hopefully, when they come a little higher up in school, and India would then do better at the PISA ranking than what it is presently. And again, as you even NCR or CBSE has done it, improving the quality of education. But I go back to point A, that we need people who are passionate about teaching. If we don't have passion, it is just a routine and nothing more. So, like again, I said, we need good teacher training facilities. I'll give the example of Meghalaya. We have, in a state of Meghalaya, we have only 5 B.Ed colleges. Assam has got 200 plus. And it just shows how serious are we in addressing the teacher shortage. So we need good teacher training facilities, and we need people who are passionate about transforming the lives of young children, who will eventually take decisions of their own as they become young adults and go on to become truly wonderful human beings in the long run. Now, along with this, I think we need to bring in education on sustainability. We are using up our resources too fast. Okay, as we can just, you watch the stories that are happening in Uttarakhand, Joshimat, that town is sinking. We are so engrossed in having a good life now, we are forgetting about the future generations. So sustainability is a subject that needs to be brought into our education even now. So that's what I see, Mr. Sharma. And of course, vocational training would be an ideal thing to come in. Again, that comes with funds. We would like to have vocational training, but funding is an issue that needs to be addressed with all seriousness.
Yeah, yes. Very well said. Whether it's Meghalaya or maybe, the Chandigarh or maybe Bangalore, one problem is there that teaching profession has been put up on a second or third pedestal. What does it mean? Most of the teachers are not teacher by choice. They are teacher by compulsion, or there was no other resource, so let's become teacher. So very simple thing is there that first of all, we need to improve the B.Ed system. Like teacher education system, there it's very heartening and a very bad feeling that there are many B.Ed colleges which are giving degrees, and they call it that non-attending degrees. Means teacher is not attending, or the B.Ed student is not attending the college, is still getting degree. So those teachers, they are ruining actually the whole system of education. So in B.Ed, there should be very, very important and very harsh decisions are to be taken up, and we should not allow such kind of education institutions who are giving such kind of B.Ed. And every time you are talking about PISA, I'm talking about PISA. So let us tell or let us reveal the position of India. Like last time when it happened in 2015 or 16, I think, the India was at 83rd position out of 84 countries. And this time India was supposed to appear in PISA examination in 2020, 22, because it was happening 21. Then due to the COVID, it was postponed to 22 March, but India didn't participate because when they tried to check inside through the SAFAL, they found that still they are not on the front seat and they can't take it up. So I was that time I was helping the Ministry of Education here from Qatar, because in Qatar we used to participate in PISA and our position was very good. Even as a school, we were at 20th position in world. So that was a very different kind of feeling, that until and unless we change the system of delivery of education, first of all, the teachers who are teaching in B.Ed colleges, to the teachers, they are serious. So the teacher who is trying to become a teacher is a serious teacher, equipped with all instruments, equipped with knowledge, and above all, equipped with compassion and passion. That is very much required. Then teacher will put up his heart and soul into the education, heart and soul into the classroom. Then whole system will change. Otherwise, if somebody is thinking that teaching is a job, then they should not come to the schools to teach. Teaching is not a job where they are coming and just like clerk does the filing work and all, not at all. They should use the subconscious mind. They should be energetic and they should come to the school with vigor and compassion and to give children love and affection by which they can grow. So different kind of concepts are coming there. Pushpa ma'am, are you there? We lost connection that time. I can see you are there. If you can come on video and audio. And, Chitraji, anyone else is there, or let's move further?
I think there is some connectivity problem.
Connectivity problem. Even iPhone also there.
Ji, ma'am is for the next session. She
Okay,
has just
okay,
joined to listen to.
I
Sir, if you allow me, I want to ask a question to the honorable
Please go ahead.
and to Tyrone, sir, anybody. So nowadays, especially in education, we were listening that we are moving from technology 4.0 to technology 5.0. And this is because they have basically stress, or they have recognized that apart from technology, the human factor, the life management skills, and the emotional factor is very much important in education. So can you please throw some light on this particular shift from technology 4.0 to technology 5.0? How much it is effective in the future education?
Actually, this terminology of 4.0 and 5.0, these are all imaginary, because we don't know what was 1.0 and 2.0 and 3.0. They keep giving these jargons for the purpose of impressing upon, the technical words. But yes, we can call it a revolution. And revolution which we were expecting in 2030 with sustainable goals of SDG sustainable goals by UN and all, that has emerged as the specific goals, and we need to work harder. And the time has come when we need to tweak in the system in 2022, 23, 22 has gone, 23, 24 itself. What are these? You have taken up one very interesting point is about emotions. Yes, due to the corona and these 2 years, the loss of education and loss of touch, loss of friendship, loss of community work and all has really emerged as the villains for Indian education system, and children have gone through such kind of mental stress, which we can't imagine. A child of nursery, KG, he did not come to the school for 2 to 3 years. Similarly, class 11, 12th, they had mental stress. So the whole system should develop. In education system, we should develop certain instruments. Emotionally, we can make them strong. They should be able to resolve their conflicts. They should be able to improve themselves, being the best version of themselves. And that kind of thing, as a principal, I found in schools like 9, 10th, 11th, 12th. Now children get into depression very easily because they have heard this word so many times. Depressed. So even if they are not depressed, they feel depressed. They say, okay, the Padukone is under depression, another hero is under depression. So they think that, oh, this is a very heroic word. This is a very interesting word. And this FOMO, fear of missing out. This generation has the problem of fear of missing out. They find somewhere they are missing out. So certain kind of skills are to be developed, which are related to their emotional quotient, as well as the quotient related to any kind of critical situation. That is to be developed so that they can become stronger children. It will not be cakewalk. Now, after the corona, children pray every time. Ek baar phir se, if things can be online, then it's good. They have a fear of coming offline. And last time we faced problem, children were unable to write because they were not into writing practice for 2 years. I think the same is with the same kind of feelings will come from Mr. Tyrone.
Yes. Sorry, your mic is unmuted, sir.
Well, the views that Mr. Sharma has just raised is so true, and it's applicable everywhere. The 2-year loss caused by the COVID is actually moved children backwards. And as teachers, now that we are coming back to a more regular system, we need to encourage our children. Okay, we've had a little backlog, but we can bounce back. And being compassionate can help a child to bounce back. Along with the benefits of the technology that is now available from, with children having the means of having better technology, and the schools too. But as the bishop rightly said in the beginning, we have focused only on the big things and neglecting the small things. That is the primary education. And he's so correct over there, because I come from a pretty a state like Meghalaya, and I move around and I see how lower primary schools are. They are in a very poor condition. If you don't even have proper furniture for sitting, a proper classroom, clean bathrooms, children are reluctant to come to school. That's because we are looking at the IITs and the NITs, or maybe medical colleges, but forgetting the most basic educational structure in the country. We need to put that in order first. And the bishop was so correct. We tend to overlook it, but he brought us back to ground zero. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Sir, here a question again arises. Like we talk about skills, and particularly now in this scenario, as I have mentioned earlier also, the social emotional skills, the life skills, very important for students. So I want to ask that in the present situation, does the administration of any school, I'm not talking about the big schools, they are definitely working on to that, but I'm talking about the small schools or the developing school. Are they really focusing on developing those skills, or they are just focusing on the study part, the theoretical part and the traditional part? Because I think to inculcate that thing in the student, first we need to have a good administration on the higher level, top level in the schools. the structure should be there, the infrastructure and the setup should be there, the policies should be there, and then we can implement that to the student level. What are your views comparing Indian scenario with the world scenario? What setups and what structures do we can find there, and what is there in India? What are your views? First, Sharma sir, and then I want to hear from Tyrone sir as well. Thank you.
Uh, uh, Sir Ignatius is also there. Bishop Ignatius sir is also there. We can take his views first. Sir, give your views, like especially on the ecosystem and environment and what Chitraji has talked about.
Anyway, I never imagined that I would get sucked into this, but I am very concerned because what you all, three of you have just spoken. Yes, there is that traditional way of teaching, as you said, you know, A is apple, B is bumblebee, or C is cat. We have to think out of the box, and there I listen to you all. I could learn from you all. Of course, as the president of our education society, schools, we are working in towns, in good schools, but we are also focusing in village schools. A good part of our income, which we get from our schools, we are putting into our village schools, because the village schools is the area where the simple children, now, for example, in Chandigarh, we have a place called Mani Majra. Mani Majra. I can see Chitra Kapoor nodding her head. Mani Majra, that's a whole world in Mani Majra. But there we have a small school with a lot of our investment going into lakhs for those simple children, because I meet those children. There's a fire in their soul, there's a fire in their heart, but they're looking for a better education. Their parents are looking for better education. So I would say I would be more on listening to you all, how we could go out of the box, make education viable. That's our contribution that we can do. But just I want to also keep at the background, there's something already coming in my mind about, at least now with the youth also, so many are unemployed. How could, I mean, somewhere from the corporate sector, from the educational sector, from the government sector, we team up to so many unemployed youth, at least some basic skills where they can stand on their feet. Many of them are going into all sorts of, harmful things in society, that X, Y, Z. But how can at least even now the youth, they're sitting at home, they're on their whole time on the mobiles. So many things are happening to them. That's my great concern. They're getting into wrong company. How they could be, their energy be channelized. So I do agree. Chitraji, you asked a question. Sharmaji, you asked. I leave it to you all to help us, and I will cooperate. Gulshanji is already in touch with me, and in fact, we have fixed an appointment to go to a particular place where there's an infrastructure. I want to use that for the good of our people.
Yes, sir. Thank you. It's really heartening to know your vision and actually what you are doing. Basically, what I noticed nowadays, the education is in a very different mode. Like when I compare education in India as well as education in Gulf countries and England, there is a lot of change. Here, every child is confused. Now, you will be surprised to know that in mostly IITians nowadays, after completing their post-graduation or graduation, what kind of job they are looking for? They are not looking for their discipline of engineering, which they have done. Rather, they are looking for coaching classes. Now, most of the coaching classes, these IITians are coming, and then coaching classes are advertising, okay, IIT Delhi physics, the guy has done chemistry, IIT from here, and this engineering and all of them are coming in coaching, and coaching is not education. Coaching is just practice, and practice. Because I noticed that there are 200, 150, 300 students in one class, and this person is coming with the LMS, learning management system. He is opening his the PPTs and showing it to children, whether children asking question or not asking question. Out of 300 students, there is no dividend which will come out. But there is a rat race that when they go to Kota, when they go to the Hyderabad and Delhi and few important cities, what is happening there? And this is what I'm telling you, that the IITs are going for this kind of system. And what is happening in the schools? In the schools in India, it is happening that in class 11th and 12th, children are not coming to the schools. There are such kind of admissions. I'm sure not in Meghalaya, but in Delhi, in Chandigarh itself, there are dummy admissions where child is not coming to school at all. The school is giving full attendance to these children, and these children are actually going to coaching centers. This dummy admission and all is killing our children's emotional thinking. These dummy admissions and this whole system is taking them out of the school education. And in school education, when they are teens, when their hormonal development is at the peak, that time if they are put under pressure. So what is happening in Kota, sir, in one particular year, there are around more than 70 to 80 suicides. So why it is happening? Because we are putting too much pressure on children of competition. And same thing is happening. Like in India, most of the parents look at two professions, either doctor or engineer. So if they are not getting into IIT, they are putting them into such kind of engineering colleges, which are not having proper infrastructure. That's why the unemployment in engineering itself is around 90%. 90% engineers are unemployed or underemployed. So you are telling very correct that this big, the big population or big chunk of the population should be put up somewhere meaningfully. Otherwise, they get into all wrong practices and wrong things. What Chitraji was talking about, the systems, difference in system. In foreign, there are accreditation policy. This means after every 15, 20 days or after every month, somebody will come from ministry, will go to the classes, will check how teaching is going on. Are there enough teachers? Are there enough books? All books are being taught. Whole process is going on properly. So there is a check. And if there is a check, then people get into practice. And that becomes their habit. If there is a check, there is a regulation, it becomes habit. In India, there are no checks. There is no accreditation policy. And now I'm listening that accreditation is becoming compulsory. There are some agencies which are coming up. So accreditation is very important. And right from beginning, whether it's a kindergarten class, primary class, or middle class, there should be certain kind of expected outcomes. That these are the expected learning outcomes which are to be met by the students. And then the teachers and principal should check whether these are met 100%, 80%, 70%, 60%. Otherwise, what is happening? You know what are expected learning outcomes, but you are not checking. You are not giving a remediation to that. So the child with the very poor foundation is coming up to the primary, coming up to the middle, to the senior school, and is creating chaos. Over to you, Chitraji.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your deep insight. Now, some views from Tyrone sir on the same topic, and then I would like to ask, but ma'am is Pushpa ma'am, if you can unmute your
Yes,
mic
ma'am.
and listening to us. After Tyrone sir, we'll straight away come to you to get the answer for this question, for this particular discussion. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah,
Tyrone sir,
sure.
over to you.
Thank you, ma'am. The points that Mr. Sharma raised just now, I can visualize them here and experience them here in a place like Meghalaya. I'll give you an example. In 2021, the best B.Ed college in Meghalaya, for some reason, the license was revoked. It was a staffing issue. Subsequently, they got their staff, okay, and they tried to get the license restored. And since I'm very friendly with the Don Bosco B.Ed people, I spoke to the education minister of Meghalaya. I said, pull strings and let's get this college back on its feet, because their staffing issue has been addressed. The first question he asked me, are you a stakeholder? I said, yes, I am. He says, how? You're not on the staff of Don Bosco. I said, I agree. I run a school. And since I run a school, I need trained teachers. Believe it or not, nothing happened. It was only when I approached Dr. Gulshansharma, he managed there in Chandigarh, he managed to make things happen. And in last year, it was restored finally. So when you have a man in charge who cares two hoots about the quality of education in the state, and he's the education minister, you're having it in many other states where the top man is least bothered. And when you have least bothered people calling the shots, you're in a dismal situation. And I'm so grateful to Dr. Sharma, who managed to, call him what, pull strings or his influence. It worked. And Don Bosco got back its license to start the B.Ed college. And if we need people, as Mr. Sharma rightly said, we need people who are passionate about their work. And that will apply in every sphere of work, not just teaching, but anything, be it medicine, engineering, even if you're a social worker or a politician. Give the people their best. But if we cannot look beyond ourselves, we are a selfish breed of people. We need to go beyond that. And unless we start looking beyond ourselves, we are doing nothing. And regarding what happens in Kota, it's a rat race. And at the end of the day, our children become rats, not individuals who can change the world. It's sad that our children are being driven to Kota or even other centers. And as last year was a terrible year in Kota, there were so many suicides. Young children of 16, 17, not a single counselor in those schools. Now, counseling is so important. That needs to be there. And how many schools have counselors? Maybe the elite schools have it in the cities. The corporate schools have it. The government schools may not have it. So that's the way I look at it. We need counselors to guide children, and we need compassionate children and teachers with passion to improve and transform lives. Ma'am Chitra.
AP Sharma sir, I think we need to structure everything from the top level, because if it comes from there, only then it can be implemented down to the students or to the required person. I hope that you agree with my point, sir.
No, it's correct. It means, if you talk about a good school, then first of all, if you talk about private schools, then the owner should have good goals, that he is not running the school to earn profits. He is running a school for service as well as marginal profits, even if profit is required. Now, a lot of convent schools, a lot of good societies are there who are running the school with that reason, and all those schools are doing very good. So yes, it starts from the top. So if there is a lot of pressure that give more admissions instead of 30 students in government schools and many private schools, the number of students in a class is 70. Now, how the teacher can teach 70 students in a class when we are talking about differential learning and teaching the students of different caliber? So whenever a teacher is teaching in the class, actually he is teaching only 30% of the students, because when we is talking higher level of things, higher order of thinkings, then only intelligence. When he is coming down to lower level of things, then intelligence are not listening. Only below average are listening. Average are listening whatever is coming to them. So 30 means in whole period, 30% people at a time are listening. So nothing can be achieved. And when it is coming from the top to bottom, yes, things may change, because then teacher will put up, when teacher has 30 students, can really teach. Otherwise, it's like a lecture. They can't have experiential learning. They can't have. And now CBSE is talking about competency-based learning. And there are certain competencies which has been decided and which can be decided by the different schools. I'm not talking about government schools. In few metros, government schools are doing much better than the private schools. That's amazing. The government should be given credit for that. And then the government should rely on one simple issue, that education is a birthright of every citizen, every future citizen of the country and citizen of the country. So looking into this, if we talk all this, like when Tryon sir was telling about these, the quota thing and all, counselor and all. Now resilience has become very important factor. And it is required when we talk about the mental health of students is very important. But the mental health of a teacher is more important. Because if teacher is happy, he will teach better. If child is happy, he will learn better. If parent is happy, everybody is happy. So this happiness starts from top to bottom. Principal should be happy. Then teacher should be happy. Children should be happy and parents will be happy. So mental health issues are there, and there should be binding of counselors in all schools, as well as occupational therapists, which CBSE has put on. And in coming year, they will be rather forcing it with all their means. Chitraji.
Right, sir. I think ma'am have again some internet problems, so she's not there. Sir, again a question, when we specifically talk about the school education and the teachers, specifically the B.Ed one, the government has now made the provision that B.Ed will now be of 4 years. Will these kinds of changes going to help in the quality of teachers that those are going to come out of these B.Ed courses? Tyrone sir, want to ask first from you and then to Reverend Bishop sir and to AP Sharma sir as well.
I think it's, making the B.Ed course 4 years, especially after class 12, okay?
Yes, yes.
I think those children are too young to take that decision. Because many times they may become teachers, they may enroll for education, but from what I have, because I interact a lot with the B.Ed principals here in Meghalaya, and they tell me that it's a little too soon this decision was taken to make it 4 years. Because a lot of times, young children, they're young adults, they lose focus and maybe they find other jobs or other careers more attractive. And with the way the salaries that teachers get, it's peanuts what they really get. So no one wants to work in a career where the money is lacking. And I keep referring to Meghalaya because I see it for myself constantly, where teachers have to go on strike to get their pay. Now, if someone keeps reading in the papers, teachers are on strike. I'm talking about these are all SSA school teachers. So if they have to go on strike to get their money, the people who are already studying to become teachers will be thinking, what future am I getting into? So I think this 4-year course was made in haste, number one. This is my belief. It was not fair. Let them finish up their BA or BSc, BCom, and then take a call. To push them after 12, they're just 17 years old, is a little too soon. And plus, there's no proper guidance. Oh, my friend is becoming a teacher, I'll become a teacher. My friend is becoming a lawyer, I'll go for law. That's what it is, because there's no guidance at all. And unless we have counselors to guide children, because frankly speaking, many times parents are pretty ill-informed. In fact, they say, as Dr. Sharma rightly said, the jobs are just engineering and medicine. But that's it. Whereas if you have a counselor, he'll be working with your strengths and say, this would be a good option for you. So we need counselors, and this 4-year B.Ed, I think, is a waste, frankly speaking. Because if you talk to the B.Ed colleges, they tell you, actually 1 year was good enough, now it's become 2 years, and now 4 years. It's a waste of time. Yeah.
Kindly correct me if I am wrong onto this, but I think that when we see people going in Indian Army for the armed forces, they are like serving their nation. So the teachers, those who are coming into this profession, they also think like they have to serve the nation, they have to build the future. So with these remarks, I would like to have some views from Reverend Bishop, sir. Because value education is also very important, sir. Your particular views.
I go along with what DeBras has just spoken of, some of the problematic areas which we have to deal with regarding B.Ed. As he said, it's too young for a person. I do agree.
Yes, sir.
One important point which AP Sharma ji had mentioned little before we came into this. He mentioned about this, actually it's a time bomb, this coaching institutes which are going on. As he said, in 1 year, there were over 72 suicides. That is what is reported. There are many things would be hushed up because families have to keep their name, etc. See, we are sitting on a very problematic area, and it's like a time bomb ticking that children after 10th are leaving our schools and going into coaching centers, and also dummy admissions in some elite schools, where the whole values are completely different. Elite schools are taking children and putting them like in dummy admissions and taking the income, etc., etc. That's, really morally, we are hurting the very foundation. What are those children coming out? What values will those children have when they themselves are seeing a complete discrepancy? On one side, they have to pay so heavily for these. The parents are burning a hole in their pockets in these coaching schools. And what Sharmaji mentioned, IIT top brilliant students are getting into coaching institutes because there's fast money coming. See the whole value system. And as he said, we are dealing with a very complex issue where from the top, we have to make clear guidelines of these schools going into coaching centers. And coaching centers also, there are vested interests. I'm not going into that. Vested interests who are wanting these coaching centers because they're earning like anything, but at the cost of young lives. So I just keep that issue on the hot burner. It has to be something we have to deal with. And students moving out from one school just because they have to go to another school where they are just using the name and the admission, brilliant children joining a school, and they're getting the publicity as, getting rank holders, number 1, number 2, number 3, but who are going for coaching centers, and our schools are taking the name that this student is in our class. It's all a dummy admission. See the whole value system. This has to be really looked into. You all as educationists know more about it. The other area where I'm very concerned is as it's happened even now with COVID, I'm getting from principals feedback, both from co-ed schools or boys schools or exclusive girls schools. Children are into all sorts of things because of during the 2-year COVID period, psychologically, emotionally, some of them are doing things which are harmful to their own bodies, coming, and a lot of, turmoil within this teenager. So need of good counseling, good counselors, because our children are going through lots of things which have happened. And with the mobile, now access to so many things from very young age, they are going into areas which are harming them mentally, spiritually, psychologically, and they are coming into all sorts of problems. So these are areas where we would need to also pay attention. I go along with what has been said, and I look for more insights and help for our. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. AP Sharma, sir, your part onto this.
Yeah, very interesting questions were raised by Mr. DeBras and Reverend Bishop, sir, about salary of teachers. Very interesting when we want to compare our education system. Then we look into the PISA rankings and all, and then we try. Most of our governments now started sending teachers to UK and Finland and Scotland and Singapore. And they say, see how good education is there in Singapore and Finland. Yeah, that should be good, because in Finland, teachers are paid highest. Teacher salary is highest, and their place in the society is considered as the topmost. So they believe that all other occupations, all other trainings, all other systems, everything depends on, and the future of the country depends upon teachers. So there should be more and more excellent teachers coming to this field by choice. And nowadays, as Mr. Tyrone said, that it's the first thing which can influence them is salary. So if there are good salaries for excellent teachers, it is not harmful for the country, rather will be excellent for the country. Now, I know one of my friend who is an IPS officer, and he was the commissioner of police in the state of Kerala. After that, this particular IPS services, he worked for around 14-15 years. Then he went to USA, did his MBA, came back, and then joined one industry, MNC. After multinational companies, for 2-3 months, he thought it's not a good thing, and he started coaching. He started a coaching center. In coaching center, he is earning a lot of money. And his wife is an IAS officer. So what is it? What is that important factor? The important factor is money. There are many people who will tell, we want to come in education for service, but they leave one school to go to another school, and they say that there are better prospects. And what are these better prospects? Is better salary. Nothing like it, the environment and all. And right now also in education, if you know about the regional colleges have a 5-year degree in which they give the graduation degree as well as B.Ed degree, which is a beautiful system. So in the regional colleges, there are teachers who are really amazing, and they know that they will become teacher, and they are taught for that point of view, that how they can provide the quality education to children as per the latest pedagogy. Now, if that is coming as the 4-year or 5-year course is good. But what I know is that after graduation, those people who wants to go for B.Ed courses, they are increasing the time for that also. That will not change until and unless we change our B.Ed system and B.Ed training course, B.Ed training institutes who are taking admissions like non-attending admissions and all. And you will not believe that most of the medical colleges, engineering colleges, B.Ed colleges, whenever their inspection is to be done, they import people from big cities for that particular day only. I know many such kind of colleges, B.Ed colleges, even medical colleges, where not only they import the doctors from other places for that 1, 2, or 3 days, rather they import whole machinery and furniture also for that particular reason. And in Aaj Tak news channel has got one very big hospital and medical college in Mumbai. If you will Google up, you will find out. And that was very reputed. So if this is it in the system of education in India, then one must think. One must think in a different way. And since today, Dr. Rajkumar, Honorable Education Minister, has agreed that he will really put up strings tight on accreditation, then the things will change. There should be complete check and balance. Then only things will change. So making education as the core sector and considering education as the fundamental right of every child, these changes are required. Reverend Bishop Ignatius has given very good views right from beginning. And I'm really impressed that if such kind of people are there in education, then education will survive. Yes. Education will survive. Otherwise, the education will take a dip. There are certain kind of mass pulling education industries in India where people are spending 2, 3, 4 lakhs rupees for IIT, for PMT, for IAS, for UPSC services and all. What happens if they are not selected? Most of them don't get selection. They get into depression and lot many things. So we have to make our children skillful so that they have some other alternate. If they are not getting into medical, if they are not getting into engineering, if they are not getting into civil services, they have an option. And many a times we have seen that the other option works better than the main option. As I gave you the example of my friend, that being an IPS officer, now he is very successful, and he gives he is coaching a certain class of society free of cost. So this is giving a service as well as doing a great work. One of my student here also is a DSP, and he is going to nearby village, and every Saturday and Sunday he takes classes for civil services. He is preparing children from rural areas for civil services and not charging a single penny.
Okay.
So we need such kind of young people who are at a very influential post to pull up those people also, those brilliant minds who are not coming in the mainstream because of money, because of resources. If we utilize those minds of India who are in rural areas, right from Northeast, Meghalaya, Bihar, Jharkhand, everywhere, I think we will have a better country to live in.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. And I think with this, we have come on to the end of this particular technical session 1 on school education, the future of school education. But before ending or winding up this particular technical session, I would like to have one minute of your winding up views on what do you think about what is the future of school education in India? A minute views onto that. We can start with Reverend Bishop, sir. Sir, your kind views on how you look at the future of school education in India and our young minds.
Well, you caught me. इधर से पकड़ लिया हमको.
नहीं सर, बिल्कुल आप अपना दिल की बात बताइए. आप तो बच्चों से काफी मिलते रहते होंगे. आप क्या आज की नौजवान पीढ़ी को देखते हैं?
I would always say we are people of hope. I would say we hope that somewhere this wisdom of the light of God penetrates the closed minds, closed hearts, and we do something for the simple primary children. Yesterday during Lohri, I saw with my own eyes. I was just saying, let me see. I went there, a man selling wood with his wife, a small baby in between. She is holding the baby, taking care of the baby. And a little boy, not more than 2.5 feet. He is also pulling the wood from the pile and putting on the taraju and helping his dad to weigh, and they're getting just tuppence for the wood. And people coming in big cars are bargaining where he's telling Sahab, ye 250 ka hai. They're giving him 200, and it is getting late in the evening. He has no choice, but he sells it at the price. People sitting in big 4-wheeler AC cars are bargaining for that 50 rupees. Looking at that, I was just telling myself, what values? Where are we going? So coming back to your question, Chitraji, I have hope that somewhere wisdom will percolate and people will realize that we cannot, neglect a vast number of people and become rich at their cost. It won't last for long. Something will happen, something will burst. We cannot allow this to continue where a few are taking everything, a vast majority are being, marginalized. That cannot continue for long. We are sitting on a time bomb. Already there are indications, but let's pray. Let's pray that in our education system, with this new policy, with certain guidelines, certain precautions, we take care of real values, as it has been pointed out, values in our education system. Yes, I have hope. We believe in hope. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Taran, sir, over to you.
Number one, I think this has been a very enlightening session with Mr. Sharma and Bishop Mascarenes. And yes, there is hope. And I think we will find a way to go forward and really not just make our children literate, but make them truly educated. And that is going to come about, which has been pretty unanimous with Mr. Sharma and the bishop, and even Ms. Pushpa, who was there for a very short while. I think we need to have passionate teachers on board. And once that happens, we will get what we want and become the Vishwa Guru. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Pushpa ma'am, if you are listening us, please your view on the future of school education.
Thank you. First of all, regret because there has been a lot of internet disconnectivity from my end. So I was just listening to, the conversation part. I'm so happy and glad to see, everyone focusing on same concern. Yeah, in the current century, now, we are in the stage of, technology development, and development on the various global forum. So today we should think about, along with the quality of education, so very important for a student to teach what is a civic engagement. So as rightly said, we are moving on to the higher education, but the social connection and, empathy factors among students, we are seeing that, slowly that is getting degrading. So again, I'll continue with the same word, hope. The new education policy culminates some of the, wonderful aspects of human life, human values, and forge social collaboration in achieving one goal, that is good education for our kids. So with this, I would say that, yes, it is the responsibility of the society. We need to work hard along with the technological upgradation, digitalization on one side, but we need to also teach our kids what are the values of social skills, social collaboration among society. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. And finally, our session chair, Shri A.P. Sharma sir, your final views on today's session and the particular theme.
Yeah, Pushpaji is giving hope. Reverend Bishop has given hope. And I and Mr. Tryon always hope. Because if we believe there is a God, then God will give us wisdom. God will give wisdom to our politicians, our administrators, and things will change. And I'm quite hopeful that India is on the verge of a great decade. And of course, by 25, our education system will do certain kind of changes to become a great education system of the world. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to all the participants.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
With this, we are now closing our technical session 1, that is on future of school education.